Okay, so we're going to be talking about acids, and there's not really a big difference between our binary acids and what we call oxyacids, which is just a way of saying it's an acid that has a polyatomic in it. So let's just take a look at these two together for a moment. So if we happen to have a binary acid, we're going to have hydrogen, and it's going to be connected to some kind of nonmetal. So one that we often use is the one connected to HCl, or sorry, to chlorine here. And notice that there's always going to be this AQ beside anything that's an acid. So an acid's always going to have a hydrogen and that AQ. And this is because that AQ just means that it dissolves really well in water, and you need to have something to be able to dissolve in water to create an acid. If you take grade 11 chemistry, you'll have a whole big section on that one. For something like this, we would call this hydrochloric acid. Now, we could also have an acid that has a polyatomic on it, and that would also have a hydrogen and that little AQ, or aqueous. For something like this, we would call this chloric acid. And that ClO3 is just one of those polyatomics that we can find on the back of the periodic table. So just remember, anytime you happen to see something that has more than two elements in it, so this one has hydrogen, chlorine, and oxygen, we always want to make sure that we take a look at our table and that we're making sure that we're seeing if it's actually a polyatomic. And here we have that ClO3, which is chlorate, so it is. So if you look at these two for one moment, you might notice that they have almost the exact same name. Here we have chloric acid, and here we have chloric acid. We just happen to have that term hydro in front of it. And so I always think about it as when we have a smaller compound, so when it's just two elements, we actually have a longer name. So that's when we have that hydro. And when we have a bigger compound, so we've got three elements, then we actually have a shorter name. So the exact same thing as this, we just cut off that hydro at the beginning. So in the same way that we used to like end any of these endings, we'd kind of cut off and put IDE before. Here we cut off that ending and we put ic acid. And here, instead of chlorate, we cut off that 8 and we say ic acid there as well. So just a little bit of a helpful reminder, anything that has two elements, it's going to be binary, small formula, big name, big formula, small name. Hopefully that helps you remember how to name your acids differently.